There we go. All right, now we're recording. So, Mudman Sports Cards on Instagram. I'll leave his link in the description. Just going to talk about some cards in particular. But first, I was just going to say we could cover some of the stuff that you do on your Instagram overall, just who you are, stuff like that. So, how long have you been in the hobby overall, just collecting cards, maybe investing? What's your overall, I guess, story in the hobby?
Yeah. So since I was a kid, I was a big baseball fan, and some of my childhood memories, I would go with my dad to shops just around me, and we would literally open packs in the shops pretty much almost every day.
Yeah.
So that's what got me into it. My dad would always bring me to these shops, and I took a break for about 10-15 years, not collecting really. And I got back into collecting, started collecting just autographed baseballs, pictures, nothing like cards, right now.
I reveal you.
Right. So, and then actually one of my coworkers, he's like, hey, you got to check out this market for basketball. I wasn't really into basketball at that time, a year ago. And, he would just show me the price movements and et cetera. So originally I used to trade stocks. That's what I like.
I kind of figured, I could tell from, some of the vocabulary and stuff that you use.
Yeah. So I try to incorporate what I'm doing now with what, makes sense to me, like trend analysis. That's what I like doing with stocks. Makes sense to me. So price action, etc. So that about a year ago, year and a half, I really got into collecting, the cards aspect of it, like rookie cards, etc. All that. So yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. I was going to ask you at some point if you'd been in stocks, but I kind of got that feeling. So I noticed that, a lot of the charts that you make, I noticed it's mostly basketball. I do notice that you have baseball cards of your own. Do you like to base the charts that you make, some of it just off of your portfolio and some of the cards that you have, or do you mostly just base it off of what's happening in the market right now? You see this card going up, and that's when you
it's a good question. I do I try to focus on what's kind of moving in the market at the time. Just so people are interested in seeing a certain card and they're talking about a lot. I'll try to analyze that, see what's going on. I'm a big Luka guy. Who isn't, right?
Yeah, I know, right? Generation, he's unbelievable, especially at 21. Holy cow!
It's just incredible. I was actually just looking at a chart, a yearly chart and card ladder. Shout out Card Ladder, they're awesome.
Yeah.
With Trey and Luka, the resemblance is insane. I'll actually have to post that on Instagram.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Trey and Luka hype right now, off season, is just unreal.
And it's only the beginning too. That's the craziest part. We still probably have a month or two before the season actually even starts.
Absolutely.
Where we already are. It's just unbelievable. And so you talk about baseball. You're a big baseball fan. I personally don't invest in baseball. I don't know it all that much. Never really have been too big on baseball. What are some of your own tips for investing in baseball? When do you sell? When do you buy? Who do you target? Stuff like that.
Yeah. So obviously I think any off season is a good buy for any sport. Depending if you want to grade, obviously if it's already graded, just buy it. But off season you're gonna have a dip in any sport, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's a tricky question because it's a tricky thing to do in baseball because there's not much hype as there is in NBA, right? There's more of a following. But you got the young guys like Juan Soto, Tatis, of course, Acuna, it's just all those guys are taking off right now. So it's tricky.
It is.
Baseball market.
So Jason Dominguez not came in, but he's got a ton of hype right now, prospecting, buying him before he actually hits the majors. Do you think it's too early to be investing in guys at that age, or do you not really care and you're like, you know what, that's probably your best chance to make money if he really turns out to be great. Buy him as early as possible and then hold until he finally makes it into the league. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's definitely, you got a higher risk there, right?
Yeah.
You already got the hype on him right now where people are comparing the Mickey Mantle, Trout, etc. I feel like every new guy that's hype is everyone's comparing to Trout, the next Trout, right? You can't help Trouts. But I guess it's based on your risk sentiment. If you can, buy one or two of his cards and be happy with, or be content with losing maybe like a couple $100, then I think it's worth it, in my opinion. I mean, once he goes up to like a single A ball, he's gonna, if he hits a couple home runs, that's gonna be on the news. People
Yeah,
already talking about him just playing in Dominican Republic right now. They're
yeah.
showing clips of him. I mean, I'm sure you've seen him where he's like jacked. He's 7
Oh
feet.
yeah, just like some of the stuff that he even just posts on Instagram, people are
Yeah,
freaking out. He's like the Zion of baseball as far as
yeah, yeah, yeah.
physicality goes. Just two huge, freakishly athletic dudes, and everyone is
Yep.
just losing their minds over the both of them, mainly for that reason.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna guess that you do some basketball investing as well. Maybe am I wrong there, or do
No,
you
yeah,
invest in basketball a little bit?
definitely
Okay.
got more into it.
Now, I know I personally have these kind of guys. I know some other people have these guys that are gambles, right? Guys that are pretty
Yep.
cheap that you think could be good, think you have some upside. I've got two of those guys. For me, it's Alonzo Trier and Bobo. I've talked about Bobo more than Alonzo Trier. I'll get into him at some point. But do you have any of those guys that you like to just buy and, wait for their time to shine and then they whatever, double, triple, then you sell them? Do you have any of those guys that you're holding on to right now, or do you have any guys that you've collected years past for that specific reason?
So honestly, I haven't got any young guys yet. I've been
Yeah.
trying to look to buy some right now. I mean, I got to do it quick because like you said, it's about to take off. But
Yeah.
I've been honestly just stacking up on Luca. I think Luca was, or actually Ja was my first basketball card I bought. And I flipped it the next day for like 100% profit. That's
Oh,
what
wow.
got me into flipping.
Yeah.
I was like, is this real? But
that'll get you going, man. Once you get those profit margins, once you see the amount of money that can be made every once in a while, just get hooked.
Yeah, my coworker, he told me about it. I'm like, I don't believe
pass
this.
it up.
But once you start doing it, it's real.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'm really trying to build my Luca PC and then get some LeBron. Kobe, I think, is super undervalued right now.
Overall, as a long-term play,
yeah.
Kobe's a ridiculously good buy as basketball because he's a legend in China, right? And I think I was going to talk about this at some point, but he's a legend in China. And if as basketball just gets more popular globally, and China overall just becomes more and more one of the top powers of the world.
Yep.
Kobe cards could be ridiculously expensive just due to the amount of love for him in China. So overall, just also a great buy. Tragic thing that happened to him. Probably a documentary coming out, I believe, pretty soon. So yeah, I think a lot of people can agree that he's pretty undervalued in terms of his overall price point. But that's a good way to go. Just stick with your safer investments. Luka's going to probably be top 2 to 3, maybe number 1 in MVP next year.
Right.
LeBron's always a good hold, especially once he retires and there's no more cards of his. Great time to be selling some stuff then. All right. Now, I know you mentioned Card Ladder earlier, and you have an article up there about the Pokemon market. I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit because I know that we kind of share the same opinions overall in the Pokemon market, and it's not looking pretty for anyone that's investing in Pokemon at the moment. So we both believe that it'll crash. I think that you've put more logic behind it, more numbers behind it than I have. Right, mine's just kind of based off of overall trends, the amount of demand. I've got some notes written here because there's just so much that I wrote down. But if you want, just give us a little bit of a rundown on, what do you think about the market overall, and people can go check your article out on Card Ladder at some point if they want to as well.
Yeah, in the article that you mentioned, I just pointed out some similarities that we had the run up with, what happened around August in sports. We had like 50 to 100% jumps in a week, which is not sustainable.
Ridiculous.
That's not healthy. I mean, I just think of it as for stock, for like a stock, 50%, 100% jump is not going to,
Well, and especially because a lot of people that claim that they're investing in it, like the guys that originally started the hype, right? Guys like, let's say Logan Paul, and then there's just a couple of other guys in the community. I think Sasha T does some Pokemon investing. They're talking about it being a long-term play. They're talking about, this is going to be art, which I don't believe really whatsoever. I don't think it'll be art necessarily. I think it'll be, collectibles, memorabilia still. But if it's a long-term play, it shouldn't be shooting up by 50 to 100%, especially considering how expensive it already was. It should not be shooting up that high, that fast overall. And it's just really difficult for it to grow organically. I think this is a lot of what we saw in the soccer market, where there
Yeah.
was hype, you know, just ridiculous, whether it was performances, whether it was just a ridiculous amount of talk around these players, that just led to a huge increase in prices. And especially for Pokemon, like I said, no real reason for it to grow organically
Yeah.
unless like they have their 25th anniversary coming up. If they do something related to the first edition set, then like they reprint them or make some
Yeah.
super short reprints or something like that. Or if they have a really good success in the gaming industry, I just don't see it. I don't see it playing out well for anyone that invested late. And you know, just hopping into putting money into stuff blindly when you're
Yeah.
uneducated is just so stupid to do. You got to do your research beforehand. It's a hard lesson to learn, but I guess some people are going to learn it this way because there's really no other. It's just really tough out there for anyone that was investing in Pokemon overall.
It's really tricky. Like I mean, I don't have the knowledge behind the Pokemon market,
I don't either,
right?
but yeah,
But what drives a, you know, for example, Charizard? I know that's like, you know, the Michael Jordan of Pokemon
yeah,
essentially, right? So
mhm,
what will drive that? I mean, I could see for a sport card, obviously it's driven by the performance of the player, or
exactly.
if even if Michael Jordan's retired, it's what he's doing outside of basketball. You know, he's staying relevant. You know, we have the
Oh, he
documentary.
owns the Charlotte Nets or Charlotte Nets,
Yeah,
Charlotte Hornets. If they
yeah.
see any success, he may actually see a pretty reasonable bump in his card prices overall as well. Um,
He's just a legend outside of basketball too. You see
yeah,
the Air Jordan ones, like that brand is absolutely the number one market. Nike is
yeah,
reliant on their sales.
yeah,
So it's like that's the thing I don't understand about the Pokemon market. Like I understand, I mean, long term, it may go up, but
yeah,
what's going to drive that price? Like for basketball, that like for example, compared to
yeah.
basketball, it's just you know, like you said, what drove this price up was with Logan Paul,
Mhm,
Logic, etc., buying high priced
yeah.
items. Like it's
Mhm.
just
There's
it's
just
the
no
whole
real
thing.
reason for Pokemon to be going up.
Yeah,
Like even when it's basketball, even when it's with retired, you know, legends, there's still always people talking
there's
about
still demand.
this
Yeah,
this person's number 7 overall, like all time. This person's number 5. No, I think that they're 6 and 8. I think that they're 4 and 2. I think Jordan's the GOAT. I don't think Jordan's the GOAT.
yeah,
And people are always still talking about them. They're constantly in the news. Um,
absolutely. Yeah,
it's just overall people are constantly talking about it. I think if Pokemon were to come out with like a game that use their current cards, like if you pull, let's say a particular Charizard, I think there's like the GX. I don't know all that
yeah.
much about Pokemon,
G, I
but
don't
you
know,
pull out
GX.
like the top Charizard that you can get, and then like if on the back there's some code that you insert it, and all of a sudden like you can go out and battle other people that pull Pokemon cards. And if you evolve the cards in the game somehow, then maybe it
That's
works, especially
that's
due to
actually
just esports growth overall. If there's like esports competitive Pokemon tournaments and stuff as esports continues to grow, that would be a reason for Pokemon to go up. But even then, it's still long term. It's still a very long term play because esports becoming very popular. Still out of reach until our like my kids my age have some kids of their own, and esports just becomes embedded into culture. It's
yeah.
just yeah,
I think that's actually a really good point. I didn't think about the aspect of, you know, because we have Pokemon Go right now, right? So
yeah,
if, like you said, if the 25th anniversary they implement like
the
trading card game
cards.
into that,
Mhm.
that's actually that'd be really smart by them.
Yeah,
And that could create, you know, an inflow of people getting into the card game again and Pokemon. So that's what they need.
exactly. Well,
Um,
because like
but
other games have like you can buy this item in the shop and you
yeah,
have it with your character. But with Pokemon Go,
right.
at least I haven't played it in years. But with Pokemon Go, you go out and you catch Pokemon. There's not much else to it. You can battle and you go to gyms and stuff. But if they do incorporate cards, that's just a major way that they can see some overall success. Now, I think this is probably going to be one of the last things we talk about, but we've seen some guys breaking the downward trend. Zion, Trey are two of the big ones. Luca's pretty much been plateauing, but I think we're starting to probably see him upticking a little bit, and that is, of course, due to overall just the hype for basketball. So, what do you expect for this bull market that's going to be coming up, right? Because I'm not sure what
I
happened.
think I just let you can hear.
Yeah, you're good. My internet is a bit rough. It's still recording though.
I thought it was mine.
No, my
I
it's
thought it
my,
was mine,
my
but
internet connection's unstable, so nah, don't worry about it.
yeah,
Did you
mine
hear
does that
anything that I
too. So I
said?
wasn't okay.
Did you hear anything I said before that or
Yeah,
no?
yeah. So
Okay.
the upcoming,
Oh no.
what I think on that. Do you hear me?
It's cutting out, man. There we go. I think it's good now. Hopefully, I'm hoping. If not, we can always end it if it gets too bad. But
No,
yeah,
no. So are you saying you said the NBA market, the
Mhm.
upcoming market?
Yeah, because it's going to
Okay.
be just a rising bull market most likely.
It's I would agree with you. It's going to be very interesting. The only macro, so I'm going back to like
Yeah,
thinking about stocks.
yeah,
Macro event that could bring the market down possibly is the election, which a lot of people have been talking about, right?
for sure.
So
Yeah,
I really do see there's a correlation between the stock market and the card market, right? It's just
Mhm.
economy overall.
Yeah,
So I think that could factor in for sure, but
definitely.
I think if we take that out of the equation, I do think that we're going to see a lot of undervalued players spike like we saw with Luca.
Yeah,
I think Luca's prices has matured. I don't think we're going
definitely.
to see because I should have looked up how much it jumped last year, but it's just ridiculous.
Well,
We can't
I
forget.
bought my Prism base at 600. The new floor is now 1300, I believe, right now.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
100% jump in terms of overall just
right,
where his prices sit.
right,
I think it's going to be ridiculous. Of course, granted, like if overall economy stays stable, we still have a good amount of new investors coming into the market, stuff
right.
along those lines. Um, I don't really expect to see quite the amount of growth that we saw with the first rise before the bubble started. Not only because I think that this bull market is going to be shorter because they're trying to rush into the NBA season just for money aspect and to fit it in before the Olympics, right? But also just because I don't think that people are going to. I think it's going to get to the point where people are like, you know what? I'm not willing to spend $3,000 on this guy even if I think that it's a good investment, it's just getting really high. And if he
Yeah,
fails, that's $3,000 that I'm losing. That could buy me however many used cars if I really wanted to, stuff like that. And it's just going to get to the point where people are like, I don't think I'm going to go that high. I think that Luca could probably hit realistically like 1,600 before the season, right? But that's again nowhere near as much growth as we saw before the last bull market. I guess is the best way to
yeah.
put it.
I
I do
mean,
think that. Oh, what were you gonna say?
no, you go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say real quick because it's so short. I think it's going to be very active still because like usually in the off season there's not as much day trading going on, but because there's not as much stuff going on. But because it's shorter, NBA draft is within a couple of weeks. Then you have free agency, and then you pretty much have the season starting pretty much relatively right after after team practices and camps and stuff. So I think that because everything is going to be happening right back like back to back to back to back, I think there's still going to be a good amount of opportunities for day trading. Like, oh, hey, they drafted LaMelo Ball. I don't think he's going to be a good fit here. Or they drafted James Wiseman. He's going to be a great fit here. And then all of a sudden, those
Right.
guys' cards go up and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. What were you going to say?
I agree. Like just piggybacking off you, I think it's gonna be news driven from now on, and you're gonna obviously have that jump where people want to speculate, hey, Luke is the next MVP this coming season, which
Yeah.
the odds are right now for betting.
Yeah, they got him. They got him at number one.
It's insane, and I'm actually kind of surprised we haven't seen a jump based on that.
Yeah,
So I think that will catch up.
probably at
Um,
some point.
and I do think like you said, 1,600 price point before the season starts realistic. I think 17, 18, maybe
Yeah, I was going more on
18,000.
the low end, but I definitely think that, especially just because it's Luka,
Yeah.
anything's possible. And the Mavericks have been surprising me, right?
Oh yeah.
Recently, a report came out that they're making a push because they don't have as many draft assets in the future. They're making a push, I think, to move up in this draft, and that's not something I expected. I expected them to just wait it out, hope to land Giannis or some big star in 2021. But I think that they're trying to make moves now, maybe get another young guy in there that they believe in, especially just because Porzingis is kind of injury prone, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
They're just trying to get another young guy in there in case he doesn't work out, which is really surprising me. So if they make moves this season, because I didn't think that MVP for Luka was realistic. I thought that the Mavs would be a 6 seed,
Yeah.
and winning is a big aspect of being an MVP. But if they make some serious moves this offseason that I don't expect, I don't think that it's impossible. If they trade for Victor Oladipo, then I think that they could be a top 4 seed in the West. We'll see what happens though. I think my internet just lagged out a bit. I don't know if I can't even hear you. Let's see. Uh-oh. There we go. Oh, maybe.
You got it?
It's back now, but it's still there. We go. It's better. Okay. Dang it. No, it just went out again. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we may have to be pretty much ending this soon. But if you have anything else that you wanted to say, go ahead. Like just talking about Luca overall, I don't know if you were saying.
Yeah. So I know you're. No, I was just listening. Yeah, no, I think I've been buying a lot of Luca. Buy graded or you buy?
Oh, dang it. Sorry. Yeah, the internet's bouncing back and forth, man. I'm sorry about that. I think it's good now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. It kept cutting out a bit there, but I think it's better now because this is the clearest that you've been. So
I had a question for you. So
right. Yeah. Damn it. We can try one more time, then if not, we can always just hop onto a call again later at some point, if we have to, and we can talk about some other stuff. But right now, it's a bit rough. So it looks like it's back now. I think. If you want to try one more time, I think so. And then if not, we can always just end it. I know that you also have places to be, so yeah. So
no worries.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So yeah, I was saying like just based on the Luca points, so I've been, like I said, I'm still trying to add to Luca. I've been buying raw to grade. So my question to you is, do you prefer buying raw to grade or do you just buy graded already?
It really depends on the player, right? Because if they're cheap enough graded, I might just buy their cards graded, especially if I don't want to be spending the money to get them graded. I don't have like a stable job. I don't have a high paying job part-time. So, I don't exactly have a ton of money for grading. So if I grade a lot of cards, it all depends, honestly. As far as Luca goes, because like his prison base are getting really tough on that, I'm buying it. I would be buying it graded myself, but I think that it's still a solid opportunity. If you find one in really, really good condition, it's not like they're not giving out 10s at all. It's just really hard to get a 10. So for me, it all depends on the player, very situational. Depends on the player and the card, because sometimes if it's a particular parallel, even if I'm not 100% sure it's going to get a high grade, or if it's already a high grade, I'm going to buy it if it looks like it's at a good price. So yeah, just very situational overall for me. But I think once like if this market is still somehow hot, once I have like a relatively stable job, a higher paying job than working for nearly minimum wage, then I think that then that's when it changes. Overall, I don't think it's going to last that long, but you never know. Sometimes people can surprise you, markets can surprise you. You never know what to expect. But I enjoy talking to you. We can always have you on some other time. I've got a couple of other guys I'm probably going to be talking to at some point as well. Like I said, for anyone watching, I will link his Instagram in the description. I'll also try to put his card ladder article down in the description as well. I'm not 100% sure if I'll be able to do that or if people will be able to see it if they don't have an account. I believe that you still can view articles even if you don't have an account. Follow him there. Puts out some great charts, great analytics. Overall, you're going to learn a lot. Just because, like he's mentioned before, comparing cards to the stock market and doing a great job of helping us to understand it. I've already learned a lot in terms of my vocabulary and dissecting charts of players that have seen rising or falling. So thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it. We'll keep in touch and see you guys that are watching. I'll see you guys next time.